To do the feet, they're only 1/2 inch thick, and they're 4 by 4 squares. Now obviously 4 inches is way too small to go through my planer, or my joiner, or my sander, whatever. So I'm going to put them all together and make a strip of 4 by 16, and I need that extra inch because as I cut them out I'm losing 1/8 inch. So set this to 17 inches and cut a piece. On the table saw, cut it to 4 inches. Next, plane it down to about 1/2 inch thick, sand it. Next, sand it down to 1/2 inch. Now we take it to the chop saw and we're going to cut 4 4-inch pieces. Now this doesn't go to 4, so set it to 14 and put in your 10-inch spacer. Always remember to trim an end first. Notice how I'm switching hands so that the piece that's between the blade and the stop doesn't ever get jammed. I need to hold that piece. Now we come to that round table where we do drawers, shaper number 3. This is called the bullnose bit, number 3. On this one, we're just going to put a rounded edge on these. A 1/2 inch bullnose is what it's called. And I'm going to do end grain first, then edge. And that, it doesn't matter which two, but obviously they have to be next to each other, but always do end grain first. Because no matter where I put it, as I orient it around, those edges will be exposed. Now because this piece is so little, it's going to want to move around a little bit. Just hold it steady as you go across. Don't jerk. All done with your corner pieces. Now keep in mind that bullnose, no matter what you do, just about any wood, you're going to get some burns, and I got them too. I sped up a little to try to help, but it is easier to sand them off now than it is after they're put on. They're attached, it's harder to go across the grain. So at this point, I can take my sander and simply go around it now. That way I don't have to do it by hand later. So I'll do the other side now, but just go around until those are gone and it's nice and smooth, then we'll attach it. Now we're going to put on your feet. Now you can see that I've put on 2 of them already. And it's pretty simple to do. Now that these are nice and sanded, when you put these things on, the only thing you really need to worry about is that the grain is going the same direction. I don't want one of them with the grain going this way and the other one with the grain going that way. So you'll flip it as needed until you figure out which way it's got to go. And I wanted these hung about 1/4 inch. Now that could be a little more or a little less depending on what you want. But I usually just take a little 1/4 inch stick and put it there and kind of feel both directions until it's right. And then nail it down. You're going to nail it with 1-inch nails. These nails are not out where you guys can get them. They're in the back room. The reason that we're using some shorter nails instead of our, quote, long nails, the long nails are 1 1/4, these are 1, is that this is a 1/2 inch thick, the bottom is 3/4, 1/2 plus 3/4 is 1 1/4, and since the gun shoots the head into it, insets that head, countersinks it a bit, the end's going to pop out inside, and we don't want that. It's going to interfere with the drawer. So we're using 1-inch nails. Just ask me where they are and I'll grab them. When you're done, pull them out and so they don't end up in the gun back in the drawer. So we're all set to go. And we just need a little bit of glue. So I want this one to match the grain that way. Flip it over and glue about 1 inch away from the edge. I don't want a lot of glue squeeze out that direction. Then I just got to clean it up later. Put it on approximately right and I press down. It starts to grab a little. Then I'll grab my piece of wood and move it around until I get it right. A little bit in that way, so that's flush. And then we check this one again. That's about it. Okay, so that's in place, and then 3 shots. Then we repeat, so I make sure, flip it over, there we go. Grains go in the same direction, good edges out, then we'll attach this. And with this glue and nails, this should not ever come off. Press down hard, then we check. Now when we have that on, we have a little shadow underneath. It gives it a little bit of depth, and the drawer fits in nice. And as I said before, the drawer is still 1/4 of an inch in. So we will, at this point, I'll sand down any of the putty. We still have putty to sand and so forth on the drawer and on this, and then I'll show you how to take care of getting the drawer lined up. Now we're going to see if we can figure out how to make this so it stays evenly in there, so it's flush, okay? And how we do that, I'm going to take some of these screws. This one is a fatter screw. It's the one that we use for hinges. And we're going to screw it in the back here. Now if I put it here, it's going to poke out, so I need it here in the side. And try not to put it so the head sticks out past the side, because we need that. So we're going to drill a hole so it doesn't split the joint with an 1/8 inch drill bit, and drill it in about that far, about 5/8 of an inch. If it's a little more, a little less, it should be fine. But about in the center or just above is fine, but right on that joint. Your best guess. Okay, and then we'll put that in. And you could use a driver if you want, or I'm just going to use a screwdriver. Just go ahead and put it in there. And I'm going to put it all the way in. Do the same on the other side. Okay, and then screw that in. Now it shouldn't be super tight, okay, just snug. So now that is now sticking out a little, and it's extending the drawer outward from the back. Now I'm pretty sure, certain that it's still going to go in too far, about not quite an 1/8 of an inch. So if I move this around, so what it looks like is this one needs to, I just unscrew the screw about another 1/8 of an inch. This one a little bit less than that. All right, so I get it out of there. Just unscrew this, and again, your best guess to about an 1/8, somewhere in there, and I said this one a little bit less. Okay, somewhere in that neighborhood. We try it again. And that is awfully close. So I have a little bit of a lip here, just a touch, but it is even. So now one more, and we are talking about just a 1/2 turn on both of them, right there. And that should be about it. Now the reason that I like this system is that no matter what, I can adjust it so that even if this is a little crooked, I can still adjust the screws to match the front. And that's it. The drawer is in. There's a little bit of a gap all the way around. It comes out and stays relatively straight, so it doesn't dip way down when it's out. Next step, any sanding that's left, sand the fronts or corners, round everything off, and we're ready to lacquer.